Joining us on the How Did You podcast today is Dr. Paul Smith, a higher education lecturer who has also got lots of experience within the TV.
Well, at the moment, I'm employed at Nottingham-Trent University. I'm senior lecturer and course leader in filmmaking. So that's what I'm currently at. And I suppose the role itself is just teaching, new students, some that have some previous knowledge from previous courses and things that they've done, to some that just literally come onto it with an interest in film in general and just want to develop skills in filmmaking and see where it takes them. So yeah, quite a wide variety, but generally teach people how to make films.
You also teach students, but you've also been through the whole system yourself. What kind of experience sticks out the most to you?
It's a good question. I'll deviate the question a little bit, I think, but stick to it, but try and put my own stamp on it. I mean, over the years, I've really enjoyed teaching. And I think when I first kind of took those small steps into it, I was classed as what you call an instructor rather than a teacher. And that was my kind of first foray into it. It was a kind of a role that was designed really to support students with technical skills that the staff where I was working didn't necessarily have. And from those kind of those first steps as an instructor, I thought it was great, because all I did really was come in, show them what to do, and then go home. And it was, you have a chat, you have a look at what they're doing, provide some advice and guidance. It was dead easy. And I thought, after doing that for a little while, that this is where I wanted to go, because I liked it that much. I really did enjoy it. It was only then when I decided to jump headfirst into it and go for it that I realised that the instructor role is nothing like the teaching role. And the teaching role is a lot more complicated. It means you got to do a lot of planning, research, all the kind of the quality, and adhere to all the policies with that, and make sure this is there, that's there. Mind blowing, and that was a steep learning curve. But I think over the years, you get used to it, you get familiarised with it. So I've been at a few different institutes now over the past, it's my 21st year of being involved in education in some capacity. It's the same wherever you go. It's the same. It's just that everywhere does things a little bit differently. Some better than others, and some worse than others. It is what it is. But generally, I still like it. I still love it. I like this, the whole process from start to finish. I think when you first introduce it to students and you're saying this is what we're going to be doing, we've got 12 weeks, 15 weeks, or the whole academic year to work on this project. And, at the start, it's that slow process of getting people motivated to move and come up with ideas, or if they've got our ideas already, how can we do it? Is it feasible? And seeing that through. And, it's great at the end of it where you actually see that finished kind of artifact that they've created, and just seeing, what that journey they've gone on to get there. Some more so than others. Sometimes it's like, God, I'm glad that's bloody finished. You want to get out there as soon as you can. But others, I'd say the majority is that, it's really good to sit down at the end of it and just watch what they've produced and listen to that story that they've got to tell. Yes, that's why I kind of, take the most out of it. It's that journey. And I think also it's nice when, you've been with students for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, it's like where they go next and what they do, and just kind of keeping track of that. And there's one student I remember in particular, and she's doing really well for herself now. And this is a long time ago, but I still remember, I'm still, in contact with her now. And she's kind of a really good editor in TV predominantly, but I think, worked in film as well, but really good editor for TV and did a lot of stuff on, a lot of the terrestrial channels and Netflix shows and so forth. And I've got her in to do a few times to do guest lectures on that journey she's gone since graduating. And it's always interesting to, when she comes and speaks, and it's like nice when she says things like, just listen to Paul or listen to your lecturers, because, they've got a wealth of knowledge sort of thing to share with you. And she always said to me, I mean, I probably, when I was a little bit younger, a little bit more naive than I am now, I always used to tell students that if you want to, get into this industry, there's no money in film and TV. You want to be doing like commercial-based work and corporate. That's what, if you want to make money, that's what you want to do. And I remember one time she came back and she said to the student, she said, "Listen to Paul. I got into film and TV and I'm skinned. I should have done corporate work because there's loads of money in that." And I'm thinking, yeah, but I wish I never said that now, because but I do think, in the industry that, this industry, film, TV production, you gotta love it. You can't do it because for the glamour or anything else. Just do it because you want to tell stories and stuff like that. I think that's the most important thing. As I say, I just like seeing that end product, and just seeing, when you got a student and they've got their work, whether it's on a cinema screen or a big screen, you screen it in front of a lot of people, and you see that look on the face. It's just, that's it. You've done your job.
Throughout your time of being a teacher or a tutor or something like that, you've been an external examiner as well. Has there ever been a specific student's piece of work that has stuck in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I've been external examining. I think I first started as an external examiner in about 2007. So I've been doing it for a long time. And I think the reason I did it initially was for the wrong reason. Because I had a friend that I was working with, a colleague, and they said, "Oh, if you want to earn a few more quid, you want to do this." I'm like, going, "Oh, why is it?" It's like, "It's external examining lights." All right, it's dead good. I went, "All right, yeah, let's have a look." So I took it on board, and to be honest, the money's not great for external examining, not for the amount of work you do, because you do it over the whole year, and there's interim visits, there's lots to write, and make sure, check on this. So the money you get paid isn't that great, if I'm honest. However, what I find really beneficial is looking at what other centres are doing, and projects are doing, and stuff like that. I find that really important. I see it as like my kind of primary research into kind of the area. And sometimes, it's also good to reflect back on, what you're doing and say, well, actually, I'm doing all right. Or sometimes it's like, oh, crikey, maybe I need to do this, or, oh, that's a good idea. And I think also you do see some really good, examples, well, and bad, I suppose, as well, of student work. I mean, there's loads over the years, because obviously when you come to do your external examining work, you look at a wide variety of work. So you look at different levels of pass, level stuff, or 2-2s, 2-1s, first class sort of thing. But you also get contentious ones as well, where but maybe you've got your first marker and the second marker are a complete disagreement, or you've got students that fail, or if you've got a cohort that are achieving a lot of first class, then they'll, you need to look at more of them just to make sure that the assessment is accurate, and consistent. So you do see a wide variety, but you do see some really good work. I think it's been difficult, in the past couple of years, because of the whole COVID thing as well. I think in my area, it has restricted, what students have been producing in terms of like getting out there and doing stuff. But in saying that, I've seen this year in particular, at the end of the last academic year, there's some really good examples of students that are producing work on like mobile phones, and things like that. It's cameras probably that they wouldn't normally use if they were, if they're able to access kit as readily as they would do under, no pandemic kind of constraints. There's some really creative work. But I think, generally, I love documentary, I think, more than anything. So I tend to be drawn to that and like that. And there's been some really good stuff I've seen. A lot of kind of this year again, I would have thought, because of pandemic, a lot of personal based documentaries that focus on individuals rather than like a wider, broader context, subject matter, focusing on individuals and what they do and where they go and their life and loves and hates and all those kind of things. They've been quite interesting to see. But there has been too many pandemic based factual things. When you've seen one and then you see another and another and another, and you think, no, yeah, I'm living in it. I don't want to see them. I know enough. It's the ones I think that stuck out this year for me, the ones that have just done, you know what, everyone knows it's going on now. It's been going on for a long time. Let's just do something that's completely nothing to do with the pandemic. And they're the ones kind of that this year for me have stuck out, you know. But yeah, he works great. I love it. And I see it as kind of, you know, personal development as well, like CPD. But also, yeah, I think I don't want to use the word stealing ideas, but in essence, it is that you can really learn a lot by it, and it's good just to get out there, meet people, and see what's going on and stuff like that. So, yeah, I highly recommend it to everyone. But if you want to do it for the money, don't. It ain't worth it, because it take, you know, the amount of work you do, you probably earn less than minimum wage.
you you speak about how we've all been in the pandemic over a year now. If you had to put some personal development on yourself, where do you see yourself in a year?
You know what? Where do I see myself in a year's time? I don't even know where I'm going to be next week at the moment. I don't. I never have done. I'm useless at stuff like this. I'm a bit of an hypocrite as well, because you always get students to plan like 5 years. Where are you going to be in 5 years? And I'm like, I got no chance. I don't even know what day I'm going to Tesco to get the food in. You know, I don't really have plans. I don't. I never have done. I've just gone with whatever happens. And I think that it's important to kind of have an idea of what you want to do and what, you know, what you value. And I think your values that are personal to you kind of dictate that, or they have done for me anyway. You know, for example, I mean, you know, if I was ever kind of in a job, for example, and I wasn't really feeling that I was going anywhere, well, I think mostly if I wasn't learning anything. I think that's the point for me. If I'm not learning anything and I'm not developing myself, because you've got to learn something every day. I always think that if you've not learned something yesterday, or, you know, or whatever it might be, then I think you've just, you know, you're not had a good day. I like to learn. I like to, you know, whether it's I pick up a book, or I watch someone on TV, or speak to someone, or you hear something, you think, oh, what's that? You know, I like to learn something every day. And I think if in a job or wherever it might be, if I'm not learning, then it's time to do something different. So I don't tend to make plans like that. I just go with the flow, I think, and whatever happens, happens, and I'll respond to it when it happens. But a year, if I had to answer that question, where am I going to be in a year's time? One is I can have an holiday. I really need an holiday abroad. I want to go and visit friends, you know, that live abroad and I've not seen for a while, and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I suppose I'm just doing what I'm doing unless something happens, and then I'll go off at a tangent and do something else.
Where would you go if you could go anywhere? I'm intrigued now.
Well, I can answer that one dead easy. It's not really about me. I've, you know, I love travel. I always have done. I've always wanted to see things, and I'm not necessarily someone that would do like. I'm not a package holiday person. I never have been. I've always liked walking and climbing. You know, I like mountains and stuff like that. And I always plan a lot of the time. Well, before the pandemic, that was to do a lot of walking based trips. You know, abroad, and, you know, just really remote. I mean, on my list was to do the Azores and just to kind of the island hopping and just climb, you know, the peaks there and just have a look around, and then just fly off to somewhere else and do some more. That's ideal for me. And I just do it. You know, I've done it with groups of people before, but it all becomes a bit too regimented for me. I like just to like wake, you know, what we're doing today or doing, and then wake up the next day and just do whatever I need to do. But there's nothing on the horizon for that yet. But going back to the kind of the point of the question was, I've been promising my kids for the past 2 years I'd take them to America. You know, and it's just stopped. We were going, and then it just all came to a stop. You know, like everyone. So that's still on the agenda. You know, I want to go this summer. I want to go this summer. I'm ready to go, But now we've got this new other variant. I mean, I'm hopeful that just disappears, but you just don't know. Is it worth booking and waiting? But no, we're going to go. I think I hope the kids. I hope the kids don't watch this, but I hope they don't watch this because then they'll know what the plan is. I've just said we're going to America and that's it. But what we're going to do is that my daughter's a massive like superhero kind of fan, more Marvel, I'd say, than DC. So the plan is, if it's on, is to go to Comic-Con in San Diego for a few days there, and then spend time in LA and work his way up to San Francisco after that, and just generally do that West Coast thing. Might fly to Hawaii if I can afford it, or just going to come out. I don't know. I'm not telling them. I'm just going to say, pack your bags, enough for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll see when you get there. They like surprises, but yeah, I don't know. That's the plan anyway. But for me, I don't know, anywhere where there's mountains, somewhere different. I like to do different ones as well. I don't like to do the same thing over and over again. I get bored of that. I just need to do new things and stuff like that. Yeah, just walking and thinking. That's what I like doing.
Speaking of surprising your kids, is there anything that's caught you off guard recently?
No, no, caught me off guard. Not really. I'm kind of. I like to think I consider a lot, and I'm on the ball with things. I don't normally let my guard down, and let things, miss things, sort of thing. I'm quite fairly well organised. I'm not perfect, no one is, but I'm fairly well organised, I think, and I know when things need to happen and when things need to be done by. So no, not really. No. The only thing that probably surprises me sometimes is if I forgot something. And it's more a case I'm surprised with myself that I've forgot it. But nothing really. No, if I'm honest.
If you had to name your autobiography, what would you call it, and why?
If I ever actually made or wrote an autobiographical account of my life, I'd be surprised. But it'd probably be called Chaos, if I'm honest. Not that it's been like total chaos, but I think when I look back now and, think about when I was growing up as a kid and, even like as a primary school kid, and I've not got a lot of memories though, you just tend to lose sort of memories as you get older, or I do anyway. I think then I never really knew what I wanted to do. Not really in life in general, I think I can remember, at primary school, and you had like chats about careers and I think when I was younger, growing up in the 70s and 80s, things are very, very different than they are now. So there weren't probably as many opportunities, and people didn't travel or go as far as they can do now for work and stuff like that. And I think I wanted to be a window cleaner, if I remember rightly. I wanted to clean windows. I've no idea why. I don't think I've ever cleaned a window in my life. But I had this weird thing that I'd be a window cleaner. I think that soon went out the window though. Little joke. But yeah, that kind of stopped. And then I think as I grew up, when you look back at things that you enjoy in life, I've always liked films and TV. I've always watched, always taken to the cinema as a kid. I think there was always some kind of film on. There was always something. We were always watching some of it as a family. And I think it probably came through, grandparents and parents and stuff like that, and their kind of affiliation with it. So I think deep down, I knew at an early age that I wanted to work in something to do with that, but never really had that kind of drive to do it because no one ever did. I mean, I remember being in high school, you're talking year 9, 10 or 11 or that. And when I was at school, there's a big kind of industrial engineering factory near to where I lived, and it offered apprenticeships, and everyone's like lads my age, their goals to get an apprenticeship at this company, like doing this engineering. It's like a big deal, because you got a bit of money for doing it, and it was better than YTS, which was a crap scheme. But you got decent money for someone like 16, 17 coming out of school. So everyone wanted it, except for me. Mum, I remember Mum and Dad going, "Oh, do you want to go work at the brush like Johnny and Billy?" And I'm like, "No, not really. What are you going to do then?" I'm like, "I don't know. I want to work. I want to work in film thing." And they'd look at you gone out because no one ever did. There was no around there. I remember going to like work experience kind of talks, and back in the day when I was at school, they kind of arranged. I don't know what it's like now, but they arranged your work experience for you. So you went to a little meeting. I went, "Oh, what do you want to do?" "Oh, I want to work in film." "Oh, you like film?" "Yeah, I like film. Yeah." "Oh, let's see what we can do." And then you disappear, and then you get like a letter to your tutor saying, "Oh, you're on work experience." And I remember I got sent on work experience, even though I told them, "I think I want to work in film," got sent on work experience to a dentist. I mean, they're linked, obviously. I don't know where. Yeah, I got sent to a dentist. I think I lasted 2 days because I'm not a massive blood person or anything like that. I don't know why they sent me to that. I think I might have said a lot of biology, or I was pretty good, I suppose, at sciences. But I had no interest in that whatsoever. So I lasted 2 days out of the week. And then I remember again, I went back. "Oh, didn't you like a dentist?" "No, I didn't." "What do you want to do?" "I think I still want to do film." So, and then 2 weeks later, got another one. Sent me to a vet this time. And I remember there was a dog come in, this poor dog. I don't know what happened to it. It's horrible, really. But and again, I don't like blood. I'm not a blood person. I think about passed out. And then the vet said to me, "Yeah, it ain't for you, is it?" I went, "No, it ain't for me." And that were it. And then for me, it was a waste of time. I didn't like school. Didn't like school at all. I think it was a bit. Mum and Dad, they ain't watching this either. I didn't really go a lot, if I'm honest, in senior school. I think I remember some days leaving home to go to school, and on the way to school there was a churchyard near, literally just outside the school where I went, so the high school, and I used to go get changed, get my school uniform off, hide me school uniform in a bag, jump on the bus into Leicester, another day out in all the record shops and stuff like that. And that was a regular occurrence. Yeah, I hated school. Couldn't stand it. I didn't learn anything. There was nothing there for me, that and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I left. I wasn't a bad kid, I didn't like cause trouble or anything. I just had no interest in it. And it wasn't until then really that I went to college and there was more choices. I could kind of pursue more kind of visual based stuff that I wanted to do. And I think that then triggered that need. It was at that point there that I realized that I wanted to learn and I needed to learn. At school weren't for me. No, weren't for me. But yeah, I think that, looking back now, I think that deep down that film was always there. It's just, I don't think I had the opportunities to do it. And I think if I'd have had those opportunities at school, maybe I'd have been a better student at school, sort of thing, and stuff like that. But it wasn't until I left that really that desire to do something kind of escalated. And I kind of felt that, this is what I want to do now. But it took me about 16, 17 years to figure that out.
Obviously, throughout your time at De Montfort University, you helped out with SDG film festivals. Is there anything throughout that sticks in your mind? Is there a certain time when you went to Jakarta or anything?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started at DMU, and I was, introduced to people, it's like anything, when you start a new job, there's so much going on, a different place. Like I mentioned previously, that there's so many different systems and processes. They're all similar to everywhere, but they're just slightly different, and stuff like that. And I remember being introduced to Ben Harbisher, and Ben, he said, "Look, we've got this thing, there's this SDG film festival that we're running out in Indonesia. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. That's right up my street. That's spot on. It's exactly what I want to get involved with, students getting out there." And I wasn't, I didn't do a massive amount for it really. If I'm honest, Ben did all the work, but it was a great idea, and I think when I look back at it now, and think about what we did, and when we took students out to Indonesia, to Jakarta, and then on to Bali to film their documentaries and stuff like that, it wasn't necessarily about the film festival for me. I took a bit of a back seat, and I wish I'd have just recorded it myself, actually, as a record of the events, but I never did. I don't know why, but I never did. But it was the actual kind of learning experience itself for the students. So even though, yeah, there's this great film festival, there's this great link up with the LSPR, the London School of Public Relations in Jakarta, who were great hosts, put a wonderful event, conference, and then the film festival. And I say Ben, did all the work for that. But it was more for me that, and I didn't expect it, it was more the kind of the intricacies of the student learning, being in a country that, they couldn't speak the language, working on documentaries about a subject that really wasn't close to home. You hear about it, and stuff like that, but there was a lot more to kind of meeting people, but also being able to get out there and do stuff in a foreign country. And I think that for me was the best thing about it, was that we took this group of students with us. And yes, we supported them, we helped them a little bit, but there was a lot of freedom there for them to go and be the filmmaker or the documentarian that they wanted to be, and to, create that story based on what they felt was appropriate. And I really like that, because other trips I've been on and other kind of supervised projects, there's a lot more kind of hand-holding, holding the hands for them and make sure that they're all right, and this and that and stuff. And again, that still needs to be there, but there was a lot more freedom, and I think that assisted them. And I'm sure if you ever spoke to any one of those talks that went, they speak very highly of it. And again, it's such a shame that that the pandemic brought that to a halt for now. But it is something, going forward where I am now at NTU, it's something that I want to expand upon, and do something similar, not the same, with the kind of partnership institutes, globally that NTU have got as well. And I'm already in discussions with some people about that, and hopefully it's something we can bring in, but make it more of a, again, I think an event where students work together, which I think is important, but also that students get that learning opportunity that they wouldn't probably get just in the UK. I think take them out of the comfort zone, somewhere different, something new, in a country maybe that it's not in their first language, having to kind of liaise, navigate their way around cities, or whether it's more rural. I think that's where I see a lot more kind of development in your ability as, let's say, a filmmaker in this instance, than if it's just making a film in Leicester or wherever it might be.
Definitely. If you had to give some advice to your 18-year-old self, what would it be?
It's a really good question. What would if I was 8? How do I answer that question? It's a tough question, because I think when I was 18 and I was studying and stuff like that, I think my advice I'd probably, I'm going to say I wouldn't necessarily, because I'm quite happy with where I am now. And I think if you go back and give, say, if you could have done this differently, well, I've got 2 great kids, I've got a job, I've got loads of friends, and I enjoy what I do. And I don't think really, if I'd changed anything, would I have that? Would I be where I am now doing what I'm doing? Would I be doing this for you, this podcast? Probably not. I might be, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think I would, because I'm quite content, if I'm honest. I don't want a lot. I never have done. I just like, what's around me. And, I'm someone that's quite happy, being on my own. I'm also quite happy being in a group of people. I don't mind, really. So no, I don't think I would. I think personally, as I said, my autobiography will probably be called Chaos. because it has been like a bit of a roller coaster at times, you know, and up and down, and who knows where it was going to next. I still don't know where it's going next. I don't, because that's the way I live. But yeah, I don't think I would. I think, you know, I'm content. I'm happy, and long may it continue.
Who do you look up to?
Oh God, these are the questions that really you shouldn't have to think about. You should just go, oh, it's such and such. And I think it's probably the same with most people. You always, I mean, for me, you always look to, you know, to your mum and dad. I always have anyway. I think, you know, I think it depends on personal circumstances, but yeah, for me, it'd be always, yeah, parents. I don't really have anything, you know, anyone else. I think, like, you know, or work with or industry wise. Yeah, it'd always be my mum and dad. Because yeah, I don't know, just family in it, man. You know, it's I think it's the most important thing. You know, just for me. But yeah, definitely mum and dad. I think my dad particularly, you know, we didn't have a lot. You know, we didn't. You know, definitely, you know, traditional working class family, and didn't have a lot. If I'm honest, compared to a lot of kids I grew up with and saw what they had. But I think my dad used to work like 7 days a week, you know, and I think as kids, I think you know, I've got a, you know, brother and a sister, and I think we all felt, you know, where's dad? He's, you know, never around. He's always doing stuff. You know, why is our dad not around? Like, what, you know, why can't he take us up to the club that all the other dads take their kids, and why are they up there, you know, to God knows what time of night? And I think when you're young, you don't really realise, you know, the amount of work that your kind of family put in. And the reason my dad like worked 7 days a week was that, you know, he wanted to put food on the table and give us everything that he could do, you know, growing up. And you know, as I say, you know, I remember, you know, some days that he'd be gone before we got up for school in the morning, and we'd be in bed before he got home. And yeah, it was weird. But when you look back now, you think, how on earth are you working, like, you know, leaving at 5 in the morning and coming home at 6 or 7, then going to another job after that, and then you're working Saturday mornings, and you know, you got to get at 5 and you're not back till 7 o'clock at night. And then you know, Sundays we had a lot of paper, and he was helping us with the paper out. You know, it's like, and now my dad's he's 77 now, and he's still working. It's mental. He'll never stop working unless, you know, his body just says I can't do it anymore. You know, he works more hours than probably someone full time. You know, it's bonkers. But he don't need to work. That's the funny thing. He don't need to, but he just does, and he thinks if he starts working, he's not going to be able to survive and have no money, stuff like that, which is just crackers, you know. So I suppose, yeah, that work ethic that you look at, sort of thing. But I think on the flip side, what I've also learned is that sometimes you just got to stop work. You know, you just got to stop, and you need to spend time doing stuff for you, but also for, you know, your family as well. So yeah, I'll always look up to my dad and my mum, because you know, I've had a good upbringing. But there's also kind of some of the things that as a kid you'd see as a fault and as a problem, that maybe they go, oh, maybe let's just take the foot off the gas a bit, and let's have a bit of fun and just do stuff with, you know. So I think I've learned a lot, but I always will. I'll always look up to them.
Definitely. Just to end it all and encapsulate it all in one, if you
Yeah.
had to give some advice to somebody, whether it be in life or getting into the media, just what would you give them?
I don't know about life, because I don't know whether I'm necessarily the best person to give advice on life. But there's a few things that I always think that I always say to students about, you know, how to be. And I don't think it's like anything amazingly, you know, yeah, anything amazing that you'll go, oh wow, what a wonderful thing to say. I mean, the first thing, just be nice. I think that's the biggest thing for me is just be nice to people. You know, even if you don't agree with them, or you know, whatever it might be, just be nice. Say hello, say thank you, say please. Little things like that. Don't be rude. You know, I don't like it. I never have done. I think, you know, saying please and thank you goes a long way. You know, respect your elders. I remember a gentleman, no longer with us, he used to live just on the same street as me growing up. His name was Mr. Hunter. His real name was Bill Hunter, but I always called him Mr. Hunter. And as a child, always growing up, you know, we were told, Mum and Dad told us that any adult you call them Mr. or Mrs., you know, whatever their name is, you'd be polite. So I always have. You know, I remember being, oh God, must have been mid-30s or late 30s, and I think I was in the doctor's. Yeah, I was in the doctor's, just at the GP's, and Mr. Hunter came in, and he's like, "Hey, Paul, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Hunter?" And he goes, "Stop it, Bill. It's Bill." And I went, "All right, Mr. Hunter," like that. And you get into a habit of doing it, and I couldn't stop. But we had a chat and a giggle about it and stuff like that. But I think things like that, it's just, you know, just being nice, polite, respect your elders and things like that. And I think that'd be the big one. But I think the other thing is more related to like films, media, students and things like that, is that when you leave, you know, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. And you're going to be up against a lot of competition, because there's so many graduates that come out of university with a similar degree as what, you know, you will have. And it's those little bits. I always say, you know, I always kind of classify as what makes you stand out. You know, what makes you stand out? There's going to be thousands of students with the same, you know, whether it's first class, 2-1 or 2, thousands, the same as you. But what makes you differ from that thousand or that thousand? You know, what makes you stand out? And I think you've just got to keep going and going and going and doing stuff. And like, yeah, you might not get paid for it. You know, you might not. But what you do is you meet people, you talk to people, they see what you can do. And they might then put you in touch with someone that they know. Or if they're short, they go, "Oh, I need someone to do this, or I need someone to do that." Then you'll get a phone call. And even in this day of like LinkedIn and Indeed and all these other online things, I still think the best thing is word of mouth. And I'd argue with anyone that's not the case. You know, if someone sees you doing something and just sees you being nice again and just doing a good job, being committed and doing everything you're asked to do, then they're not going to forget it. But they might just scroll through a profile and just go, yeah, next. I don't know. But yeah, that'd be the two things: is just be nice and just keep persevering. It is going to be tough, but you've got to do it. You know, everyone's trying to do the same. And if you keep going, you will succeed. You will. And whoever's, you know, if you've got that kind of mentality and that kind of work ethic, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.